turn.
Every who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot.
But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not.
The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason.
It could be his head when the spirit on display.
Or the beeper of the shoes were too tight.
I think the most likely reason of all is that his heart was 2 sizes too small.
But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's.
Staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow's Christmas is practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew.
All the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early, and they'd rush for their toys. And then,
Oh, the noise! Oh, the noise!
That's one thing he hated.
Noise.
Noise!
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 Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast.
And they'd feast.
And they'd feast.
And they'd feast,
Feast!
Feast.
And they'd feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef.
which was something Grinch couldn't stand in the least.
And then they'd do something that he liked least of all.
Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand.
And the Who's would start singing.
They'd sing.
And they'd sing.
And they'd sing.
Sing!
The more the Grinch thought this would Christmas sing,
The more the Grinch thought.
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea.
An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I'd look just like St. Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found.
did that stop the Grinch?
No.
The Grinch simply said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max.
They took some red thread and tied a big horn on the top of his head.
then he loaded some bags,
And some empty old sacks.
On a ramshackle sleigh.
Then he hissed up old Max.
then the Grinch said,
Giddy up.
And the sleigh started down. To the homes of the Who's lay a snooze in their town.
all their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air.
And the Who's were dreaming sweet dreams without care.
When he came to the first little house in the square.
This is stop number 1.
The old Grinchy Claus hissed,
Then he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist.
Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch.
but if Santa could do it,
Then so could the Grinch.
He got stuck once for a moment or two.
Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue with a little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings
he grinned.
are the first things to go.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant.
Around the whole room, and he took every present.
Pop guns,
Bicycles,
Roller skates,
drums,
Checkerboards.
tricycles,
popcorn,
and plums.
and he stuffed them in bags.
Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney.
Then he slunk through the icebox.
and he took the Who's feast.
He took the Who pudding.
He took the roast
He
beef.
cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash.
Why, the Grinch even took the last can of Who hash.
Then the Grinch stuffed all the fruit in the chimney and the lake.
And now
Grinned the Grinch.
I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove.
When he heard a small sound like a coo of a dove.
He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who.
Little Susie Lou.
It was no more than 2.
The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who got out of bed for a cup of cold water.
She stared at the Grinch and said,
Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
but you know that old Grinch, so smart and so slick, he thought of a
He
lie.
thought of it quick.
Why, my sweet little tie?
The big Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child.
Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and he sent her to bed.
And when Cindy Lou, who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up.
The last thing he took was a log for their fire.
Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar.
On their walls, he left nothing but hooks and some wire.
And the one speck of food that I left in the house was a crumb. It was even too small for a mouse.
And he did the same thing to the other Who's houses.
Leaving crumbs much too small for other Who's mouses.
It was 1/4 past dawn
All the Who's still in bed.
All the Who's so soon.
when he packed up his sled.
Packed it up with their presents.
The ribbons,
The wrapping.
the tags,
And the tinsel.
The trimmings.
the trappings.
3,000 feet up.
Up the side of Mount Crumpet.
He rode his load to the tip top to dump it.
Pooh to the who's.
He was grinchiously humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then every who done and who will all cry boo-hoo. That's noise
Grinned the Grinch.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused and he put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow.
It started low.
That started to grow.
But the sound isn't sad.
But the sound sounded merry.
It couldn't be so.
But it was merry.
Very.
The Grinch stared down at Whoville.
The Grinch poked his eyes.
Then he shook.
What he saw was a shocking surprise.
Every Huda in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing.
Without any presents at all.
He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came.
Somehow or other, it came just the same.
Then the Grinch with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow did puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or
And
bags.
he puzzled 3 hours to puzzle restore.
Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought,
doesn't come from the store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
and what happened then?
Well, in Whoville they say, the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load to the bright morning light.
He grabbed the toys and the food for the feast.
And he,
He himself,
the Grinch, carved a roast beef.